Since I was in the 5th grade, I've made it a point to own this same pair of shoes. These bright green high top Converse. And so that would make, gosh, about 13 years so far of owning the same pair of shoes. And every time these shoes get too worn out to wear, and I definitely set a very low bar for that, I'll hold on to these shoes forever and ever until they're just unwearable. I buy a replacement for these shoes. I buy the same high top green Converse. And I bet you're wondering why I'm so insistent on wearing these same green shoes. I mean, these shoes, look at them. If you can imagine, they really don't go with that many outfits. It's not like they've got great arch support or anything like that. So why am I buying these same green shoes? Well, when I was 10 years old, I thought that I was in love with Nick Jonas. Seriously, really thought I was gonna marry that guy. But besides that, I had a big crush on this kid in my class. And also every other little girl in the class had the same crush on this little boy. When you were in the 5th grade, you also probably knew one of these boys that every girl had a crush on. But just to paint the picture of 10-year-old me so that you can get your imagination going, I was a little like roly-poly of a girl. I had this A-line bob that was like cut at my chin, you can imagine, and I had freckles all over my face, and my teeth were I had these 2 front teeth that were just a little too big for my mouth, a little bigger than all the other teeth, and I think I had fallen and busted one of them, so I had a chipped front tooth. I wouldn't call them buck teeth, they weren't that big, but anyway, that paints a picture for you of what I looked like. I was super geeky, I was super spunky, I was probably a little too smart for my own good, and I knew I was smart, you know, I was one of those kids, so I can imagine I was probably a bit of a character to everyone around me. But I distinctly remember showing up to school, and before class started, the class had to line up in front of the classroom and wait for the teacher to open the door. And I remember standing there and looking over and seeing this guy in his green shoes. He was wearing these green Converse. And and that's when I had what I thought was just like a brilliant idea. So I asked my mom that week to take me to the Converse store to pick out a pair of my very own green Converse. And my mom, as all moms probably would do, she knew what I was up to. Maybe I had said something about this guy's green shoes before. I'm not really sure. I'm just not a very sneaky person. And so she knew what I was up to. She asked me while we were at the store, I was looking at the green Converse, and she said, "Do you really want those shoes? You know, they're kind of a weird color." And I was like, "Oh yeah, these are the shoes that I want. Green is like my color, it's my thing. I'm definitely like gonna wear green forever and ever. Like that's it. We're like in a conversation." So my mom, she's like such a saint. Even though she knew what was going on, she wanted to make my little heart happy, and so she bought me that pair of green Converse. And so I remember showing up on Monday to school and wearing my green Converse, and you know, I'd straighten my little A-line bob so it was super shiny and sleek, and You know, I was wearing my shoes. There was no scuffs on them. Standing there, you know, tall. I'm ready. Like, I am ready to get my man. You know what I'm saying? And then I turned as we were getting lined up, and I looked back, and there were like 3 other little girls who were also wearing green Converse. And we were all looking at each other, and of course we all laughed. We were like, wow, we're like Green Converse Shoe Club. And that's how we were, at least on the outside. But I know for me personally, on the inside, I was like so mad. I was like, you know, I was really prepared to stand out and to get noticed. And I just knew that since we all had these green shoes on, 1, I wasn't going to stand out, and 2, it was very obvious what I had done and what we had all done in getting these green Converse. And so instead of just getting rid of the shoes or never wearing them again, I decided to instead gather up my pride and wear the heck out of those green shoes. And just to make sure everyone knew that I really did love green shoes. And so, for, I kid you not, the next about 2 years, up through the 7th grade, so this was from 5th grade to 7th grade, I wore those green Converse almost every day. Like, it was crazy. And if you remember, being, you know, between the ages of 10 and 12 and all in there, your feet are always growing. It feels like you're just constantly going up, up, up in shoe sizes. But I held on to those shoes, and so by the time I had to get rid of them, I would put them on and my toes were like curled up on the inside, and I had ripped, my toes had ripped holes in parts of them. And gosh, in fact, I remember the day that my mom said that I had to get rid of those shoes. I was outside, I was on my trampoline in the backyard, and I remember her coming out and picking up those shoes and saying, today's the day, you have to get rid of these shoes. And when she held them up, they were sun bleached, so they didn't even look green anymore, really. They were full of holes because my toes just didn't fit in them anymore. I remember I wore them one time on a golf cart, and I'd put my feet out on the ground as the golf cart was going, and so the side of my shoes were burned. They were in really rough shape. But I was definitely sad to part with those green Converse. So, what did I do after that? What did I do after we got rid of that pair of green shoes? Well, I did what all sane people do, right? I got another pair of the green shoes. And part of that was really just to continue to prove my point that I loved green Converse, but also another part of me had really taken on this identity of being the girl in the green shoes. It was just kind of who I was now. When I began to look back on that experience, which, by the way, was not the last time that I would try to wear something or enjoy something just to, you know, impress another person. I realized that I had, at least at first, put on a fake self, a fake version of myself to impress someone. I didn't actually like those green shoes when I first got them. I just wanted someone else to like me because I was wearing something that I thought they enjoyed. And not to be super dramatic here, but I had essentially put off a piece of my own identity and picked up someone else's identity and tried to wear it around a little bit, literally. I tried to wear it around. You know, I lied about myself to others. I lied about myself to myself. It may sound dramatic, but this is definitely what happened. And I convinced myself that that was my identity. And ultimately, it didn't even produce the outcome that I had wanted so bad. My goal wasn't even achieved, you know? There was no hand-holding, there was no falling in love, there was no special attention because I wore these shoes. So, I bought replacement pair number 3 of these shoes. This is actually them right here. I bought these a few years back, and at this point, I was way too old to be proving that I love green shoes. So why did I buy pair number 3 if I wasn't trying to prove anything? Well, because now when I wear these shoes, I'm reminded of this story, of this time that I went through. When I look at those shoes, when I look at the green shoes, I'm reminded that I don't have to put on anyone else's identity to be myself. The only identity that I need to put on is the one that God gave me. And so these shoes are a reminder of that story. You know, God made me. He called me, and Christ redeemed my life. I think the same is true for you, that God made you. He made every quirk, every characteristic inside of you. He made every freckle on your face, every hair on your head, and he did it with a purpose. There is nothing wasted in God's kingdom. So when I wear those shoes, I'm reminded that if I try to be more than he made me to be, if I try to put on someone else's identity, or if I try to be less than he made me to be, if I try to take off a piece of my identity, that I'm dishonoring him, I'm dishonoring his act of creation. If I do that, I'm saying that God was incorrect when he formed me, that there was something else maybe that he needed to do. But the fact is, that's an impossible thing for God. It's impossible for God to be incorrect. That's just a part of his nature, to be correct, to be right. So just like he redeemed me, just like Christ redeemed my life, I've decided to redeem these green shoes. They hardly match anything. They really don't. I do feel like they make me stand out in a crowd just a bit, because who else is wearing bright green shoes? But when I put them on, I am reminded of who I am. I'm reminded of who God made me to be. That I don't have to be afraid to just be me. I can walk with confidence because I am a product of my Maker, and I'm not a product of anyone else. And any boy or any person at all is welcome to see me that way as well. And now I don't really mind being the girl in the green shoes. Well, before you go, I have a few quick questions for you, and I would love for you to answer them in the comments below, so that we can connect about the green shoes and maybe even learn some things from each other. So here are my questions. 1, what are your green shoes? Do you have something that you've claimed as your identity that isn't really you? If so, how can you let God redeem that today? Maybe it doesn't look like carrying it with you for the rest of your life or wearing green shoes all the time, but what can you do today to take that thing that you've placed on yourself and let God use it in your life and others? Hey, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on anything else coming from this channel. My name is Kenzie, and I would love to continue to connect with you all over the internet. All you have to do is find me on literally any social media platform. Just search @Kenzie Carisse.